Okay, dear participants, soon we are approaching 1 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Make yourself comfortable and prepare yourself for today's webinar. So soon it is going to be 1 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. So make yourself comfortable and prepare yourself for today's webinar. So it is already 1 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. So distinguished Tvet practitioner, professional expert, teachers, and administrators, welcome to this second webinar organized by CPSC. I hope you are all fine and doing well in your respective field of work. CPSC has switched to webinar platform from Google Meet to Zoom. This was done to accommodate more Tvet professional and enhance quality of our webinar. And as you know, today's topic is effective instruction skill for Tvet teachers. We talk about skills which are used by the Tvet teachers for effective instruction, how to make it better and more effective. That will be our today's discussion. So today we have two speakers. First speaker is none other than our respected Director General, Dr. Ramar Lamitsane. And second, after Dr. Ramar Lamitsane, I will continue the presentation. So now, without further delay, I like to request Dr. Ramar Lamitsane to start your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sanyog-ji. Mr. Sanyog. Good morning and good afternoon to all respected personalities around the globe. On behalf of Colombo Plan Staff College, I would like to express sincere gratitude to all of you for your valuable time, commitment, inspiration, and encouragement, despite the busy personality. So once again, today we are going to present our webinar. The topic already Sanyog mentioned, the effective instructional skills. So I am going to present directly without further delay. Today's I am going to present on effective instructional skills management. First, the topic itself is the effective instructional skills for Tvet teachers. But when we go to the classroom and, training venues or wherever we conduct training, we have to consider the overall instructional skills management. That is very important. Pre-delivery, during delivery, and post-delivery. That is a very important aspect. That's why I'm going to talk here. Effective instructional skills management is my topic. My presentation will cover introductions, competencies for Tvet teacher. We discuss in many webinars, but today we are going to discuss very specifically what are the key competencies we are looking for as a Tvet teacher. Then role of Tvet teachers, what are the different roles they have to play, paradigm shift in teaching and learning, and conclusion. So first of all, I want to show you one, how is the Tvet system, If you see here, as an input, curricula or instructional materials and teacher is the key important thing, very strong element for input. That's why without these two important things like curricula and teacher, or the effective instructional skills cannot be happen. So there are many other resources, but these two are very key resources as an input for the Tvet system. Similarly, the classroom or workshops, labs, wherever. So that is also another important aspect. So here the main delivery will take place. Our instructional delivery or implementation of the instructional management take place there. That's why that classroom or workshops or lab facilities should be very rich and very effective. So that where the process happens, the delivery process, instructional things happen there. That's why it is considered as process, like a delivery is considered as process. Then if we will have this effective delivery in that classroom or workshops environment, then definitely either we will produce our graduates as a technopreneur, entrepreneur, or wage employer, or whatever. So this is like an output and outcomes indicator. That's why the Tvet teacher or instructor or trainer, whatever we use the term, or lecturer, their role is very important to produce competent graduates to be a technopreneur, entrepreneur, or very competent workforce for the labor market. That's why this is the overall Tvet systems we discussed many times. Now I'm going to talk about what is instructional management, because all of you know very well, so no need to explain much. But according to Eric.ed, they define Tvet management, it is an events and procedures. So instructional management is an events and procedures, and which contribute for the decision making just for a specific activity for an individual student. For example, if we talk about instructional, means in Tvet, in competency based program, we cannot just deliver our lecture, or we provide guided practice in a group. But in Tvet, the important things is each and every students or participants, they should have learned effectively. Otherwise, it cannot be considered as competency based. That's why a specific activity for an individual student. In your classroom, there might be, let's say, 20 students or 40 students. Out of them, there might be 5, 6, or single student can be very weak. So effective teacher always give extra precautions, extra measures, extra coaching for that type of students. That's why we talk here specific activity for an individual students. If you make a general activity for all students, the learning may not happen. That's why the smart teacher always identify the different types of students, learner. Then they will treat differently. That's why, and several forms of instructional management are around. There are many forms of instructional management. So effective teachers, effective instructional skills, or competent teachers always, do aspiration management. Always aspire the students. This is aspiration is very important. Another is like a prescriptive management. Sometimes teachers should be very rigid, very specific. That is also important in the types of the students. So that is called prescriptive management. And achievement management. Always our teaching and learning should focus to the learning objectives. That is very important. That's why always each and every teachers should apply the management to achieve the goal, both goal, organizational goal as well as learning objectives, learning goal, or we can say in individual students' learning goals. That is very important. That's why it is called achievement management. Another is motivation management. An effective teacher always motivate their students. If learners are demotivated, the learning may not happen. That's why motivation management also very important. Then enrichment management. So everywhere there should be a resource, everything, that is another aspect. Then maintenance management. Maintenance means always we have to maintain our learning standards, our teaching learning environment. Here maintenance means not the maintenance of tools and equipment. Maintenance management here means resource management, maintenance of resource, maintenance of our consistency of our teaching learning environment, consistency of our performance. That means all type of maintenance, not only tools and equipment and building maintenance. So maintain your standards, that is very important. And support management. So as an effective teachers, they have to provide a lot of support to students, maybe within the classroom, out of classroom, also in, like a morning, evening, or even in the weekend time. Sometimes, as a very good teacher, smart teacher, they provide support to students. That's why these 7 types of management comes together to instructional management. That is very important. Not only delivery the class, that is not instructional management. If you able to aspire, inspire your student, then rigid, achievement, target oriented, always motivate your students, then maintain your standards and support to students. So these are the key management perspective to be an very effective instructional manager or instructional staff. Okay, so that's why instructional management is not just to deliver the class. Just, we have to think about pre-class, during class, post-class. That is very important. So if we talk about instructional management system, all of you are very aware with this. Our instructional management system is same, like Pdca, plan, do, check, act. In plan, what we do, IMS is the instructional management system. Always we have to plan, means instructional design. As an effective instructor, teacher, we should have a very good instructional design. Or based on that, our instructional design or instructional plan, then we'll develop lesson plan. When we develop lessons plan, we have to develop a resource plan also. What are the resources do I need to deliver my class? What are the resources do I need to complete my course for 6 months, for 1 year, for 3 years? Then another is evaluation plans. How do I evaluate these students? How to evaluate the students? So these 4 plans are very important. There might be other plan as well. That's why instructional design, lessons plan, resource plan, and evaluations plan is a part of the instructional management system. So our effective instructor or teachers, they have to plan properly. If we don't have any plan, means we don't know where to go, what to teach. So if you don't have plan, means you are planning for failure. Failure to plan means plan to failure. That's why instructional plan also a very good indicator of for the success or for the effective instructional things. And do means real delivery part here, implement part or conduct. Instructor A can evaluate instructor B. Instructor B can evaluate instructor A. So there might be different approach. And 360 degrees evaluation means all stakeholders also can evaluate who interact with that teachers. If that teachers used to go to industry as a supervisor, maybe industry people can evaluate that teacher, that how he perform. Then another important is overall course evaluation. So we have to do the course evaluations and resource evaluation. So was there adequate resource as we planned or not? What are the lapses there because of resources? So these are considered as check part. So we have to do these 3 elements very important in check part. And based on check, like a report, we'll get evaluation report, then compile feedback and suggestion. As in, smart teachers, they always compile their feedbacks and suggestion provided by different stakeholders, like students will provide feedback, peer teachers will provide feedback, management will provide feedback, industry will provide feedbacks. If we work with community, maybe community people will provide feedback. There are different stakeholders. So we have to compile all the feedbacks and suggestions. Then assess suggestions. So then we have to assess. There might be many, long feedbacks and suggestions. So, but all suggestions may not be valid. So we have to assess which is a very realistic suggestions or which is very important for improvement. So as an smart teacher, they have to assess all the suggestions provided by stakeholders, then improve for next. So based on that suggestions, we have to improve for next. So based on this act part, the next plan will be changed. So this will be the act, this part will be the feedback for the future plan. That's why this is called instructional management system. So this is also called quality instructional management system because of Pdca cycle, That's why every teachers, they have to follow this cycle. Are we doing this or not? If you unable to complete one activity or one element, the whole elements may die, may collapse. To maintain quality standards of our teaching and learning, we have to follow this cycle. So now I'm talking about shifting role of Tvet teachers. Tvet teachers has to play different role. Sometimes like traditional teachers, when we are talking about, face-to-face class, like this webinar, now like a traditional teacher, during the theory class, we might be a traditional teacher. But when we talk about guided practice things, like a real practical, there might be a trainer. We can convert from traditional teacher to trainer, means there will be an equal role of teachers and trainees. So trainer and trainees, like teachers and students, and mentor or coach. So that time learner, we can take terminology that students can be a learner, or any terminology we can use, or we can use, let's say, in all three elements students, but in different scenarios. So now present, like a present 21st century environment, Tvet teacher are more mentor or coach or facilitator rather than traditional teachers, because we don't need a lot of theory classes to deliver as in traditional teachers. You can coach them. Okay, consult this website, go to this website, follow this book, follow this article. Then we can impart a lot of theory and knowledge part to our students. That's why our major role will be mentor or coach. Here, the teacher's role will be very less and learner's role will be very high. That's why this is based on the context, based on the situation, based on the topic, based on the skills, like a teacher has to shift their role. That is also very important things. So competency for Tvet teachers, this is already discussed many times. So all Tvet teachers must have knowledge on their particular area and particular subject occupations. They should have skills and attitudes. All three elements is very important. That is called basic competencies for teachers. And a teacher should have abilities. So if I have all these KSA, three elements, but if I don't have ability to present, like a presentation skills to be a teacher's like things, that is also very important part. So abilities is another competencies, and personality traits. So different occupations, different type of personality is needed, even for teacher. If we are talking about hospitality, maybe teachers should have always, like a well-dressed up. But if we are talking about agriculture occupations, maybe teachers should be ready to do work in the field. Teachers cannot go with tie, and suit in the agriculture field. That's why personality traits also very important. And the whole, these basic competencies, abilities, personalities, traits is considered as competencies. This can be applied for students, apply for teacher also. Okay. So now I'm talking about skills and qualities to be a good instructor, like role skills, personal skills and qualities, organizational skills, ICT and disaster. So we categorize into basically four areas: role skills, personal skills, organizational skills, and ICT and digital skills. Okay. So I'm not going to explain much because in the following part, engineer Sanyog will do that. So role skills is like planning. Always a teacher has to do planning. Similarly, presentations. Effective teachers must have a very good presentation skill, like structuring and communicating idea using visual aids. In the classroom, presentations are always presentations will weigh 80% of the effectiveness, and other content part will take only 20% of the weight. That's why presentation skills and communication skills is very important during the classroom. Content always comes, but content, if you have a very rich content, but an instructor or teacher doesn't have a good presentation skills, that class will be very boring. That's why presentation skills, facilitations, because we have to change our role from traditional teacher to coach, mentor, facilitator. That's why we must have a very good facilitation skill, like managing activities and contribution and learnings, and one-to-one. As an effective teachers, coaching, counseling, mentoring, advising, assessing, one-to-one students we have to do. We cannot just do in a group. No, because competency means we have to coach or counsel each and every student. Consultancy, like investigating, diagnosing, advising, evaluating, partnering. So that's why this category we can say consultancy. And troubleshooter, insightful, innovative, dogged, or skillful rebel. So as an effective teachers, competent teachers, they have to find it problems. That's why they are considered as troubleshooter. And design. So designing course, materials, activities, opportunities, and illiterate. So this part comes in design. So this is called role skills. That is very important. Another is personal skills and qualities, like communications, in personal listening, questioning, explaining, giving feedback. Interpersonal, like building relationship, sensitivity, and handling conflict. These three important things. Effective teachers, if they don't have interpersonal skills, they can, as a teacher is like a referee, umpire. Teachers has to manage conflict between the students also, conflict between the class, conflict between students and industry. So that's why employer, that is very important. That's why interpersonal skills is very important to be effective teachers. And assertiveness, always, confidence, challenging and supporting and negotiating. So that is called the cluster of assertiveness. A Tvet teacher should have this. If you are not confident, how you can make your student confident? And we have to take a challenging role, supporting to other, and we must have a negotiation skill and flexibility. We should be very flexible. We cannot rigid with the plan. The plan is not rigid document. Plan can be changed based on the context and available resources. That's why flexibility is very important. Responsive, creative, adaptable, manage change. That comes under the flexibility. So these are the very important element to be an effective teacher in Tvet sector. And expertise, whatever area we are teaching or we are involving in different occupations, we might involve. So we should have expertise on that. If you are not expert in that occupations or that subject matter, you cannot be a teacher. Like a knowledgeable, experienced, insightful, up to date. So if we are teaching something, if we are not up to date, maybe we are using the content of 1990. That might be absolute. And the present students are very smart. Students are more smart than teachers. That's why students will question you, sir, these are the absolute data. Then at that time, our face will be red. That's why up to date is very important. And we must be experienced in particular occupation. That's why we need industry experience to be an expert teacher. Organizational skills like a team working, democratic approach, supportive, dependable, and collaborative. We cannot, as an good teachers, you are the key member of the organizational team. Always we cannot blame department head. We cannot blame management. So we should be a part of management. That type of team working is very important. Self-management, managing stress, time and work, self-starting, learning. These are the elements under self-management. And influencing. So our dynamic teachers will be always influential, that's why, and driving change, like a winning support. So always, my position should be in a winning post like that, If we feel like that, very influential, we can bring change. And strategic, coordinating, planning, leadership, linking, and thinking. These are very important. Coordinating, planning, leadership, linking, and thinking. Linking means link to with other parties, other stakeholders, other teachers, other students, other organizations. Then always we have to think, Then problem solving and business, like financial, marketing, customer care, managing information. These are organizational skills, because we should be very effective and efficient teacher. If we ignore the resources, maybe our teaching and learning cost will be very high. That's why we have to implement all our classes based on business-like manner, means effective and efficient way. That is called one elements of organizational skills. This is obvious, ICT and digital skills. I'm not going to explain more. Today's teacher, these are the basic competencies. Everybody should have these skills, ICT and digital skills. So now I'm going to show you one video. This is about 9 minutes. Please watch it. Okay, thank you. So hope you enjoyed this, and there are very valuable informations to be an effective instructional staff. So now I am going to talk about paradigm shift of teaching and learning. So traditional method like teacher-centered, knowledge and skills-based programs were there and supply-driven. This is considered as traditional method, but in modern methods, we have to apply vocational pedagogy. Vocational pedagogy means how to teach, we cannot bring the general education pedagogy in Tvet. Tvet need vocational pedagogy. So competency-based programs. So that's why teacher has to follow that, and learner-centered, not the student-centered. Teacher-centered. This is a learner-centered environment, modern method, and competencies-based. Competencies-based means not only knowledge and skills. KSA plus abilities plus personality traits. We already discussed that. Okay. Then demand-driven and technology-driven. So modern methods should have vocational pedagogy, learner-centered, competency-based, demand-driven, and technology-driven. So that's why this is the time of shifting from traditional method to modern method. So Tvet teacher development model, now I am going to give one model like based on Pdca and IT, that is a Singapore model, IT Institute of Technical Education, Singapore. And the Pdca, this combine this, like an institution, we have a Tvet Institute. Then we have a Tvet teacher development program. So within the institute, there should be Tvet teacher development programs. We have capacity development programs. Then when we have a capacity development program, that teachers will go to classroom, labs, workshop, or competency-based learning environment. Then what will happen? Output will be the competent graduates. That's why institution, if you have a regular Tvet teacher development programs, then they can go classroom and deliver effective learning environment and effective skills to students, as an output, we can produce competent graduates. So when we are talking about Tvet teacher development, so what is the first activity for Tvet teacher development? Plan for teacher training. Always you must have plan. So, okay, 2020, now this is a COVID period, okay. There might be no more class by till September, means this June, July, August, September, 4 months, you can develop for 4 months, you can develop a plan to train your teacher. So that is very important. These 4 months, you can train many teachers. Then based on plan, train with vocational pedagogy. Train your teachers with vocational pedagogy, not like a general teacher. Then provide a mentor. And what you can do, always a very good institute like that is happening in Singapore. If you recruit a new teacher, new staff, always you give a management to give one senior teacher as a mentor for them. So you can apply. From today onwards, we can also apply this in our institute, okay? For junior teacher or new teacher, you can give one senior or experienced teacher as a mentor. That is also part of the development, Tvet teacher development. Then create learning environment. Okay, so every teaching staff, they should have a there should be a learning environment. Then they can interact with system. They can interact with environment. They can interact with other teachers. They can interact with senior. They can coach to junior. So then automatically Tvet teacher development mechanism or system will be success. That's why this is called Tvet teacher development model. Okay, now this is my concluding slide. Therefore, a competent teacher not only teach, facilitate and create environment of learning, she or he challenges learner to learn, unlearn and relearn. Okay, thank you very much. So with this overview of the instructional systems, instructional management and role of Tvet teachers and competencies, now I would like to hand over Engineer Sanyo to go more detail on like different methods, different models, different competencies and how will be the effective teaching learning takes place in the classroom. So detailed part he will explain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sir. So it is visible?
Yes, yes.
Visible, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Dr. Saab, for highlighting what is instructional management, instructional management system, role of Tvet teacher, skill quality to be a good teacher, organizational skill, teaching in 21st century, teacher development model. Thank you for that input. Now I'll continue. So today, as you know, effective instructional skill for Tvet teacher, the topic is, so my presentation is covering the following points, like first, case one, the need of instructional skill, instructional framework, ways to enhance instructional skills, case two, and conclusion. So let me start with the simple quotation. Truth is simple, but the moment you try to explain it, it becomes difficult. In COVID situation, now we all know how to wash hand. If you have to teach that how to wash hand to the group of people, it will be differ from person to person. So even if you have idea, you have truth, you have fact, how to explain is a different quality you need to explain it. You need different kind of skill, quality to effectively explain what you know. So this is today my presentation all about this, how we can effectively explain, demonstrate our content, our knowledge, our fact, and other to our student effectively. So this is the simple quotation. So now let me start with the case one. Like Mr. Rex, a newly recruited teacher for motorcycle mechanic course, assigned to teach change engine oil. So Mr. Rex is assigned to change engine oil. He grabs a book, goes to classroom, starts reading from the book on changing engine oil, asks the student to take notes. At the end, asks the student to come to the workshop. He starts demonstration on changing engine oil, instructs the student to practice, leaves the workshop saying, I will come back after 2 hours, comes back to workshop, asks two students to demonstrate the skill, marks all students as competent. So what do you think about this case? So maybe you have, you want to express something, you have some queries, you have questions. So let me ask you 3 questions. Do you think the student learn what they're supposed to learn? What do you think? Do the student learn what they're supposed to learn with Mr. Rex? Is Mr. Rex prepared for effective instruction? So you know, is he prepared for the instruction or not? And what feedback should be given to Mr. Rex? So maybe you have so many feedback to be given to Mr. Rex. So this is a simple case one, and these are the questions now you can brainstorm within yourself what feedback should be given to Mr. X. At the end, we'll come back to this. So now occupational versus instructional skill. Like occupational skills, like plumbing, electrical, automobile, where we are graduated from university, maybe from institute, and a person comes to Tvet Institute for the job, and he becomes an instructor or a teacher. He has occupational skill. But only occupational skill is not enough to transfer our knowledge and skill to the student. So with occupational skill, we also need instructional skill like planning, instructing, guiding, demonstration. So combination of occupational skill and instructional skill will make an effective instruction. Only having occupational skill is not enough. So you also need to equip yourself with the instructional skill. And both occupational skill and instructional skill, they need continuous upgrading. One-time learning is not enough. So it should be continuous learning, continuous upgrading. So occupational skill and instructional skill both need upgrading time by time. So to have an effective instruction, you should have occupational skill plus instruction. A combination is a very good, and it produces synergy. So let me introduce one instructional framework. The source is there. You can go there and read more. But now I'm going to explain you. Like first, we have in a outer circle, we have an instructional model like information processing, behavioral, social interaction, and personal. Those are the instructional model. Broad category, philosophy, it has a philosophical foundation. So those are very, very broad. And after that, we have instructional strategy like direct, indirect, interactive, experimental, independent. Then we have instructional method like case study, role play, group work, questioning, brainstorming, many, more than 100 methods we have in teaching learning. So there are many methods. Then comes the instructional skill like planning skill, explaining skill, directing skill, demonstrating skill, and managing skill. So in an outer circle, if you go outer circle, it's a very broad and very philosophical. It's a broad type of content. It has all 4 models. And when you go down toward the instructional skill, it is more specific. So a teacher should be able to use those instructional skill, and those are very specific. So the source is there. If you want to read more, you can go to that source and read more. So now let me start with the model. Number 1 model is information processing. I will start from the left-hand side. So it's a focus on cognitive activities of the students. So information processing model, there are under that category, there are different models. So, but all are focused on cognitive activity of students. So it's a mental activity of student. How to enhance the retention rate, how to make them more, how they can comprehend more, how they can analyze more, how can they synthesize more. So it's focus on cognitive activities of student. And information processing model are scientific inquiry for collecting original information, organizing, structuring, and properly storing of the information. So as a teacher, we have to, for this, if we are adapting this model, so this is a scientific inquiry for collecting original information, how to collect that, how to retrieve information from different sources, how to organize that information, how to structure that information, and how to store that in hardware and your mind also. So how to store that. So, and it aims for creative and critical thinking skill enhancement of student. The information processing model aims for creative and critical thinking skill enhancement of students. So information processing model, within that model, there are other models, though all are focused on the cognitive activity of the student. The next instructional model is social interaction. Its focus is to build synergy in the classroom for addressing ongoing problem of personal, social, national, as well international importance. Like social, today we have this new concept, social distancing. So if you have to teach the social distancing, so this can be the model you have to adopt and help the student to develop self-directed problem-solving ability. Social interaction model helps the student to develop self-directed problem-solving ability, sense of belongingness toward the society, and make them responsible citizens of our Tvet Institute. Another, our aim is to make our student responsible citizen of the country. So this model will help us to make our student a responsible citizen of the country. Another model is personal model, is a focus from the perspective of the selfhood of the individual. It's a selfhood. So individual consciousness, development of unique personality, and shaping their future. So this model aims and focus for individual growth, how to make them unique, how to make our student unique personality, shaping their future for the betterment, and aims to encourage productive interdependence. So how to work together with other also, increasing people's self-awareness and sense of responsibility for their own destinies. So they all will be the graduate Tvet Institute. So we are shaping their destinies. For if you want to shape the destiny, you can use this personal model for your teaching. And another is behavioral, based on philosophy that students modify behavior in response to the information, how successful tasks are. This is behavioral model is based on this Bandura, Watson, their philosophy, like operant conditioning, positive reinforcement. If you provide positive reinforcement, the students will learn more. If we provide negative reinforcement, the progress will go down. So it's based on this is social science. So modification of behavior is the main focus of this model. And the role of predetermined, objective, observable behavior, clearly defined tasks and methods, feedback and reinforcement are the foundation of this model. So as a teacher, you have to give reinforcement to your student so that they progress better. So it should be a positive reinforcement. So these are the four different instructional model. Now I go to the instructional strategy. So direct strategy, what is direct strategy? It's a teacher-directed and teacher-centered. Direct strategy is a teacher-directed and teacher-centered. Deductive teaching, like this is famous, the lecture is a very famous method of direct strategy. If you are using lecture, that is direct teaching. You go to the classroom, you write the topic and start from the definition, then the critical characteristics, then types, then features. So lecture is a direct strategy. So deductive teaching, the rule or generalization is presented, then illustrated with example, followed by student practice. So we provide like a demand and supply economic, there is a rule called demand and supply. We present that and we give some example, maybe some cases we give, and student practice, we give assignment and they practice the supply and demand rule according to the assignment. Example are lecture is a direct strategy. didactic questioning, WH question, what, where, which, how. Those are questioning is a direct strategy, practice and drill. Like in a childhood, you learn A, B, C, D, like that, practice and drill. And demonstration, we demonstrate different skill, concept, and principle and facts. So those are all direct. So direct strategies are easy to plan and implement and less time consuming. But the learning is questionable in direct teaching. As you know, the lecture method is very famous all over the world. So this is a direct strategy. So it is easy to plan how to lecture, and implement is also easy, but less time consuming. But the learning is questionable. And the next strategy is indirect strategy. Indirect is highly student-centered and flexible to explore different possibilities. So indirect strategy is student-centered. Like our DG already told you, our Tvet practice now should be student-centered. So indirect strategy is a student-centered, flexible to explore diverse possibilities, high retention and transfer. It has very high retention rate. The learner will learn it as desired, and the transfer of learning from teacher to student is very, very high. It's an inductive teaching, like first we present examples, cases, and studies reports we provide to our student. Through that example, cases, and our report, student discover the rules, principle, and relationships. So it's an indirect strategy. It is more time consuming because you have to plan it, you have to release the student for discover the rule or principle or relationship, and require very, very careful planning. So it is more time consuming and requires more careful planning. And examples are like inquiry, problem solving, decision making, and discovery learning. So these are the example method for the indirect strategy, like inquiry, problem solving, discovery learning. So these are the example. So now experiential strategy is a inductive again, and it's a learner center also, and it's activity oriented. So personalized reflection about an experience and the formulation of plans and apply learning to other contexts are critical factor. Like in experiential learning, like if we conduct study visit or exposure visit to our student to the industries or the another Tvet institute, they learn there the process. The teacher learn there how the teacher are teaching in that institute. So how to bring that experience to our institute. So each day we make different experiences and how to learn from that experience. That is very, very important. So this is a experiential strategy, and examples are field trips, experiment, simulation, games, and surveys. So these are the example of experiential strategy. So now another strategy, independent strategy, further the development of individual student initiative, self-reliance, and self. It's a independent for an individual student. For case study, role play, problem solving. There are many methods. So we need to search it. We have to find new methods and take a risk and apply to our teaching learning process. So I'm not going to explain this because there are so many methods. So we need to be proactive. We have to search for different new method, maybe emerging. Now everything is online. So also in online, which method to use, we need to strive for it. We have to find it and we have to apply it. So instructional method. Now instructional skill. First, let me introduce you planning skill. A great way to start your instructional planning is with a lesson plan. The famous is a very, very critical is a lesson plan. If you don't put it on writing, you will forget me. First, you will forget in the class so many things. So putting in a writing, your planning should be put in a writing. So in a format, I have given you one lesson plan format. Like you in the top, you write skill or topic, what you are going to teach. Then you write the terminal performance objective. If it is a skill, then you write enabling objective. Then you go to the activities, key point, and how, which method, the activity will be done by which method, and which media will be used, and time, how long it takes. So every detail you will write in your lesson planning. So this the advantage of this is first this will be a sequential. Second, you will not forget the activities. Third, it can be refreshed to your colleague in the future. Also, you can make a pool of this, and you can have different lesson plan. And if even when you retire, some newcomers will come, they can have a reference with your lesson planning. And while planning, decide on which instructional strategies to use, which strategies you are going to use, human and physical resources, which resources are required. Lesson plan helps you to know human and physical resources required, classroom, workshop, lab, and ICT, which instruction you are going to use. It's a ICT-based instruction, or workshop-based, or lab-based, or classroom-based. So lesson plan help you to decide on where you are going to teach your learner. And also it helps you develop checklist, rubric for demonstration and assessment of your learner. Also, it helps you to develop handouts, job aid, and information sheet. What you plan on your lesson planning sheet, that you have to reproduce, you have to develop. And so this is about the planning skill. Now, management skill. As per the lesson plan, start managing, like inform support is start about the activities and support required. So if you need somebody else in your classroom to support you, like assistant teacher or your teacher, whoever you need, so you have to inform that staff that tomorrow at 1 p.m. I am going to deliver this session. So please, I need support. So this is a management skill. And what support, what type of support required, you have to mention to that support staff also. And check and confirm media, like software apps installed or not, internet is good or not, how the speed is, and internet condition is good not, and tools are there, the tools are good in shape, sharpened, and equipments are there, they are working in a proper functioning or not. And if you have developed handout, job aid, information sheet, checklist, rubric, assignment sheet, you have to print it out. So you have to use your support staff, maybe for printing, like if you have 50 students, you need 50 handouts, so you have to reproduce it. And manage sitting arrangement if you want to conduct differently, like only group work type of sitting arrangement. So you have to go to their classroom, and with the help of support staff, you have to arrange the desks and table like a theater style or in a group work setting. And also in a lab, in a workshop, you have to maintain the workstation. Like if you have a 50 students, there must be 50 computer stations, and all should work properly. And if you are going to manage field trips, surveys, or research work, so accordingly you have to manage it. Field trip, like you need a transportation, you need a lunch maybe, so you need so you need support from other. So you have to manage that field trips, surveys, and research. And also parallelly you have to manage yourself also, like haircut, like beard, hair, and cleanliness, the hygiene, and dress. So personally also you have to manage. So this is all about management skill. Now, demonstration skill. So what is a demonstration? A demonstration is defined as a visual and verbal explanation of important facts, ideas, or process or procedure. So demonstration is about verbally and visually explanation of important facts, ideas, or process or procedure. But the most important, that you have to practice demonstration before you go to the classroom workshop. Like in our last webinar, we train you how to develop a mobile app. So Mr. Ghani, he had to practice this before coming to the webinars many times, so that it should be a perfect demonstration. So most important is that practice demonstration before you go to the classroom and workshop. And tips for demonstrating a skill like process or drawing objects. So maintain eye contact with the learner and do not just talk to the equipment or screen or whiteboard. So we have tendency to talking with the whiteboard and screen and with the equipment. Please don't do that. Please maintain eye contact with the learner and talk with them. Don't talk with the equipment or screen or whiteboard. Use visuals when there are complicated steps, like you want to show the internal part of 4-stroke engine. You cannot verbally say that, so you have to use visual to clarify complicated steps. Use appropriate gesture, body language, well, like if you are giving direction like clockwise or counter, you can use your hand to emphasize your message, like clockwise you have to do like this, you have to do like this, so you have to use hand. So like this you have to put one, then the, so you have to use your hand for emphasizing your explanation. Involve your learner in demonstration with questions such as, what should I do next? You have to raise their curiosity and ask, what should I do next? Why is it necessary to do in this way? So if I do it another way, what happens? So you have to ask question, what happens if I do this in another way? So you have to raise their curiosity, interest your learner while demonstrating and ask those questions. And another question is, what other materials can be used to do this skill? So if you are demonstrating how to prepare a paper bird, so you can ask them, if paper are not available, what other material can be used to develop a paper bird? So this is the demonstration skill. Now explaining skill, very important all the time. Now also I am explaining to you in a webinar. So this is an explaining skill. So first be clear what you are teaching. It's a fact, it's a concept, it's a principle, process or procedure. First be clear. As a teacher, you have to be clear what you are going to teach. Facts should be taught differently, concepts should be taught differently, principle, process, procedure, all 5 things should be taught differently. So first, when you go to the classroom, introduce your skill or topic. If you go and directly say, today we are going to learn about 4-stroke engine, this is not interesting. So you have to create a climate, so environment, so curiosity of students. So indirect instruction you have to use, indirect strategy you have to use, and raise your curiosity, interest of your learner. So introduce your topic in an indirect way, like if you are teaching 4-stroke engine. So maybe first you will show them how the engine is working. So then only you ask them, so what is this? What do you think? What is this? So in that way, so introduce your skill or topic. Use mnemonics for teaching fact. For example, Roeji Bir is name used to remember the color of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So use mnemonics when facts should be memorized by your learner. So use mnemonic like Roeji BIV is used for orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So in that way, you can create your own mnemonics and you can use that. Provide, if you are teaching a concept, then you have to provide definition, relevant characteristic, unique feature for teaching concept. And if you are teaching process, you have to use different flow diagram in a chart or in a computer or in a screen you can show, but you have to use flow diagram to teach processes. And use checklist for teaching. If you are teaching a skill and procedure, you have to use checklist for teaching procedure. So this is explaining skills. So I want to show you one small video. This is not, say, this is very funny video, so please have a look at it.
प्याज लोगे बी
So from this video, you can see that how important is the pronunciation from our Tibet Institute. When we pronounce something, the learner will learn as we pronounce it. So we have to be careful while pronouncing new words. So we have to go to the Google and maybe find how to pronounce it. So accordingly, we have to have the correct pronunciation in the classroom. So now communication skill. So as a teacher, we should encourage two-way communication and maintain equal participation of the learner. So when you have a two-way communication, it is more interactive. So more discussion will take place, and there is chance of enhancement of learning. And ask a close and open question. First, in the beginning, you can ask a closed question, because in the beginning, don't ask very difficult question. Start with a simple question, like closed question, like what is the height of Mount Everest is a closed question, but open question is how we can save ourselves from COVID-19 can be an open question. So first start with the closed question and slowly go to the open question, so the thought-provoking question, and communicate respectfully. Use a tone that is honest and tactful, choosing words that are appropriate to the situation. You have to choose the word and tone of your voice very, very, very respectfully, so that they don't feel offended anybody. When talking on a listening role, if you are listening to your student, make eye contact and focus on the speaker. Don't turn your head toward the wall or outside. If someone is speaking, please have attention to that person and focus on the speaker. Speak in turn, never interrupt this. If someone is speaking, don't interrupt him or her. So let him or her speak first, then only you can speak. So don't interrupt the speaker. Repeat your own message in different way. When you want to make a point, consider what visual tool can help you in addition to your verbal communication. When you are giving a message, something there is a problem of clarity, so you can at that time you can use visual or some kind of example to make your message understand by the learner. Check for understanding time and time again, like then 10-15 minutes, ask, is there any question, is there any non-understanding? So please ask me. So you have to check the understanding and use non-verbal communication. Use it to emphasize your message. Like already I told you, clockwise or anti-clockwise. So use non-verbal communication to emphasize your message. So communication skill, this is very well known to you. So while communicating, I have already showed this in my previous webinar. Do not forget the following skill, like appearance, appear in formal dress, avoid jeans, long hair, tattoos. I already told you. Gesture, posture, be normal, use appropriate gesture and posture. Filler words, minimize filler like and, yeah, or you know. Those you have to minimize. Eye contact, maintain 3 to 4 seconds per student. Body language, use as per the country context, normal body language. Speaking, your volume should be loud enough to reach the last bench. Speak 125 words per minute, and use pauses after important message, and use correct pronunciation. I already showed you the video, so use correct pronunciation. And don't stay in one place, reach to the student. Don't stay in the classroom in only one place, so move around and be together with the student. They feel togetherness, so it's good to have a little bit of movement. So directing skill, under the instructional skill, directing skill, provide review, overview, preview of lesson, review what we learned last week, overview what we are going to learn today, and preview what is coming next. Today we are going to learn this, tomorrow what is coming next. So you have to give review, overview, and preview of lesson. Control the learning environment. You can control the learning environment through your eye contact also. If somebody is misbehaving, you maintain the eye contact with that person, or ask the question to that person. So if someone is misbehaving, just ask question to that person, and he or she will become normal. So provide clear instruction for group work, assignments, project work, computer-assisted learning. So if you have designed your lesson plan for group work or assignment, project work, computer-assisted learning, so you have to give clear assignment. In a group work, what you want to achieve, what the learner will be doing, and what you are expecting the result. So same with the assignment, project work, computer-assisted learning. So give clear instruction. Provide clear direction for skill practice. Use of checklist. How to use checklist? Why? If you are going to conduct the practice activity, give clear direction that how to use checklist, use of resources, how to optimum use of resources, occupational safety and hygiene and greening skill. You have to give the directing skill like occupational use, safety, and maintain the hygiene, and also please be careful on greening skill. So don't waste too much resources. Okay. Provide guideline on assessment and evaluation of student and performance. So also, if you are going to do the assessment or evaluation, you have to give very clear guideline how the assessment and evaluation system is going to take place, how we are going to evaluate knowledge, skill, and attitude, that you have to provide clear guidelines. Now let's look at the conventional versus modern classroom. So you can see the modern classroom there in the left side. In the right side, you see the conventional classroom. So what do you think? Are instructional skills still valid for the modern class and online learning? This is question to you. You can brainstorm yourself, but I will say that it is still valid, because in a modern classroom or online learning also, you are explaining something, you are directing your learner, you are demonstrating something process maybe, you are demonstrating something. So all the instructional skills are still valid for online learning also. In a modern classroom also, it is still valid. You are communicating also, so you need communication skill. You have to manage it. Your classroom, your laptop, your screening, maybe if you want to do some paper and marker and charts and maybe whiteboard. So you have to have a management skill also. You have to have directing skill, explaining skill also, planning is you have to plan also in a modern classroom or even online learning. Like this webinar, we have to plan ahead how you are going to present, what example you are going to give, what case you are going to give, how you are formulating the question. So still all instructional skills are valid for modern classroom also. So 10 skill in addition to instructional skill for modern teachers. Like for the modern teacher, addition to instructional skill, we need 10 skill like technology enthusiast. We have to be technology savvy. Yeah? So innovative, also we have talked a lot about it. You have to have commitment that you will achieve this in this half yearly or annually. I'll achieve this, I'll do this. So you have to have commitment. You have to preparation. You have to preparation. Without preparation, there will be no learning. So preparation is very, very vital. So after preparation, you have to organize it, and you should have a tolerance. So sometimes the plan may not work. So you have tolerance. You should have that tolerance that I'll improve the plan next time, and I'll improve and implement. So you have tolerance. So you have the also capacity of storytelling, different storytelling. You should be open for question. Student can ask any questions. So you have to be ready for that to answer how to deal that. And you have to be social. You have to be together with the student and other colleague in your Tvet institute. And geek means you have to be expert. You have to be very geek on your technology. So these are the 10 additional skills you need on the top of instructional skill. So ways to improve, how we can improve our instructional skills. So first, get trained in TOT. Very famous, we have TOT, training of trainers or training of teachers or trainer, TOT. Like in TOT, what we learn? We learn instructional strategy, model, skills, approaches, method, and ICT, e-learning. So this is very vital for each teacher of Tvet system. They should first enroll in the TOT training, then only after that, they should go to the classroom. So in a TOT, we learn different strategy, like what I'm presenting today in detail. We'll be learning in TOT skills, approaches, method, and online thing, e-learning thing, ICT education. So those should be, our Tvet Institute should manage this training to our each teacher, and only after that, they should go to the classroom. And another way is to find a mentor. A good mentor can change a teacher performance and personality and equip teacher with instruction. Finding a good mentor is very challenging, but if you find a good mentor, that mentor can change your performance and personality also, and help you how to how to manage and find different instructional skill, strategy, method. And you can also do independent learning like from the Google. So vital for us, is it's a surviving tool for us. Google, YouTube, there are so many tutorials how to do something, how to do that skill or process. So many things are in YouTube tutorial are there. There are different research papers available. There are different research studies are there, articles are there. So you can also independently learn the instructional strategy, method, and approaches through the Google, YouTube, research paper, studies, and article. Learning by observing. So how experienced teachers are. So you have, if you are newcomer, so first you have to observe how other experienced teachers are performing. It's a learning by observing. So you have to observe experienced teachers, how they are performing. And you have to, the Tvet Institute should conduct exposure visit to a good Tvet Institute to show our teachers how other teachers are transferring their knowledge skill to the learners. So learning by observing, another way of improving instructional skill, and conduct control education. So as a teacher, you have to take a risk, and sometimes you have to use new method in your classroom to see how it produces the result. So you have to search for a new strategy, maybe new method, and you have to implement it. Like convert conventional teaching to computer-based learning. If you are teaching conventional way, so maybe you want to make it computer-based. So you have to take a risk and try it. And maybe you want to apply discovery learning. So students discover what you are going to teach by themselves. It's time-consuming. You need careful planning, but in discovery learning, the retention rate is very, very high, and transfer of skill and knowledge is also very high. So these are the way how to improve instructional skills. Now, APAC, already our DG sir has presented about the APAC, Asia PAC Pacific Accreditation Certification Commission. Also, if you want your institute to be accredited by APAC, APAC also seeks for instructional skill. Like in criteria 2, teaching learning, we have indicator 2.3 instructional guide. Under that, we have lesson and session plan. So no lesson, no session plan developed. So the institute will get only 0 mark. If there are no lesson plan, session plan developed, any 0, so you get a 0 mark. So less than 40% of teacher develop lesson session plan. Based on, if only 40% teacher develop lesson session plan, you get 1 mark. And 41 to 60% of teacher develop lesson session plan based on curriculum, get you 2 mark. And 61 to 80% of teacher develop lesson session plan based on curriculum, you get 3 mark. And above 80% teachers, if they are above 80% teachers are developing lesson session plan based on curriculum, then you get a full mark. It's a 4 point you get. So APAC accreditation also seeks for instructional skill. And another one is indicator 2.5, teaching learning methods and techniques, adoption of teaching learning pedagogies, teaching learning methods and techniques. So only traditional method, lecture method is applied, you get 0 point, because it's a direct strategy, and only lecture method is used, then you get 0 point. Develop session plan indicating one teaching and learning method which has been implemented in addition to traditional method. So one more, on top of lecture, if you are using one more method, then you get 4 point. On top of lesson plan, if you are have two teaching and learning method, then you get 8 point. And on top of traditional method, if you have 3 or more new learning method, if you are using, then you get 12 point. And if you are using 4 teaching and learning method, then you get 16 point. And if you are using 5 or more teaching and learning method, then you get the full mark 20. So it is very vital for Tvet Institute to train your teachers on instructional skill, because while accrediting, also this is also criteria for the evaluation. So now the case 2, I showed you case 1. Now the case 2, Mr. Rex, a teacher for motorcycle mechanic course, assigned to teach change engine oil. He developed a lesson plan now and confirmed the strategies and methods, developed checklist and assignment plan. The same Rex teach something different. He starts with an overview of lesson in computer lab. So he directly went to the computer lab, not in the classroom, direct student to form in 5 groups and search information on engine oil and how to replace it. And ask the learner to present the result to the whole group after the assignment. He asked the student come to the workshop. Then lastly, he said, let's go now to the workshop. He first emphasized on industry standards. So he said, to change engine oil, what are the industry standards? He starts demonstration on changing engine oil by following checklist. He instructs the student to practice with his guidance. After adequate practice, students do the independent practice. So they practice independently. At the same time, he starts assessing their performance with the help of students. So after having adequate practice by all the learner, the teacher asks them to do the independent practice. So while they do independent practice, teacher also parallelly do the assessment of their learning, their performance, and they tick mark the competencies met or unmet. So at the end, Mr. Rex asks students to reflect on the experiences. How was the experience? How was the learning? So what was good? What was bad? What should be improved? He asks questions like, what are the critical steps for performing this skill? While performing that skill, what are the critical steps? How can you change oil if center stand is broken? Sometimes a skill should be performed in an unusual condition. So you have to ask that question to your learner. How can you change if center stand is broken? In a motorcycle, if the center stand is broken, how you can change the engine oil? How you ensure you've performed well? So how you can say that you have performed well? What are the criteria you think you have done well so that you have performed well? So these are the questions he asked at the end, and he completes the one lesson called change engine oil. So now think about the case 1 and now case 2, and please answer this question. Has instruction been improved compared to the case 1? What strategy, method, and instruction skills are used? Did the student learn what they're supposed to learn? Can we say that this is a good practice of teaching in Tvet? What feedback can be given to Mr. Rex? So has instruction been improved comparing to case 1? Yes, I can say that the instruction has been improved. What strategy? He has used indirect strategy and direct strategy both. Yeah. So he has also used the planning skill, directing skill, explaining skill, and demonstrating skills are used. I think the students learn what they're supposed to learn because they have enough guided practice, and after that independent practice. So I think the student learn what they're supposed to learn. I can say this is a good practice of teaching in Tibet. So of course we can improve it. So, but this is, we can say a good practice of teaching in Tibet. What feedback can be given to Mr. X? So feedback depends upon the person to person. So he can still improve. So we can give feedback to him for the better performance next time. So this is about case 1 and case 2 and comparison and the improvement. You can see it. Now in the concluding part, I'm like a mechanic when repairing an equipment or automobile. When a mechanic start repairing an equipment or automobile, first he closely examines the problem. First he look at the equipment or automobile, open the hood and see, try to understand the problem. Then only he select best tools among many tools. There are many tools on the wall. So after examining the problem, only he selects the best tool among many tools and he solves the problem of the equipment or an automobile or a motorcycle. So similarly, as a mechanic, a TV teacher must be capable of selecting, implementing, adapting learning model, instructional strategies, instructional method, and instructional skills. So like a mechanic, a teacher, TV teacher must be capable of selecting, implementing, adapting, and reflecting on it and improving on it. So this is very vital. And lastly, thus, if you want to have effective instruction, high achievement of Tibet students, take a risk. You have to, as a Tibet teacher, you have to take risks and implement new method, new strategy to see whether it is working or not. If it's working, you can continue, you can improve. If not working, you just leave it and go to the another strategy and skills. Use variety of strategy, method, and appropriate instruction skills. So as a Tibet teacher, you should be able to use different strategies, method, appropriate instructional skills. So this is my concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sanyogji. Please check the chat box. There are some questions for you, but not many, maybe one or two. You can check that. So thank you for the good presentations. Now I am responding some questions. I got some questions like one questions from Nepal. What are the major guiding factors for effective Tvet system like developing countries Nepal? I think this is, everybody knows what are the effective guiding factors. For that, for the effective Tvet system, first you should have a very good country's educational policy or Tvet policy. Then, strategies, long-term strategies, and to address that national strategies or national plan, every institutions, we must have our strategic plan. And within a strategic plan, instructional plan is another element. For that instructional planning, the main factor is your like a policy, institutional commitment, like leadership commitment. For example, teacher want to deliver very effectively in your class. Like they want ICT equipment, multimedia projector, or many things, or latest equipment. But principal doesn't like to buy even board marker. Principal says you have to use blackboard and chalk. What will happen? That's why leadership commitment is very important. Then allocate adequate resources for the teaching learning environment. Adequate resources for teaching learning environment. Create important factor is learning environment, commitment of management and commitment of that individual teacher. Individual teacher also, don't go every class with your like 10 years back hands out. Most of the teachers, they feel, they take same hands out for regularly 10 years and same pictures and same equipment. What will happen? In 21st century, the classroom environment will be very poor. So leadership commitment, resources, teaching learning environment, and don't hesitate to consult with other teacher. And that's a very important part. And another important thing is exposure to our teacher to industry, the success factor, That's why Tvet Institute, if you don't have that plan, or if most of your teachers are on experience in industry, please plan from today to send them to industry. You can make a plan. Like first 6 months, you can send 3. So you have to do partnership. Because our next, we are thinking about the industry institute linkage also. So that is very important. These are the, all factors. That's why we cannot say this is only single factor. It depends upon the context, depend upon the attitude of management. That's why where are you working? What type of environment you have? That's why plan both national and institutional plan. Second is management commitment, leadership commitment. Third is resources. Fourth is your personal, like a teacher's attitude to develop environment. And like today we discuss, teachers should have a very clear plan and be flexible and change your methodology, change your instructional skills, change the learning environment, change the methods, then it will be more effective. That's why I think these are the common factors, like country like Nepal, Bangladesh, even Bhutan, generally we said we are poor, but actually we are not poor, mentally we are poor. That's why first, as an effective teacher and Tvet management, you have to eradicate your mental poverty. Then we can improve the environment. So commitment is very important. I hope you got your answer. Then another is, I think this is from the Abdul Aziz from Bangladesh. if coaching center is legitimate with a business entity through any local government, how can how we can stop our students from those business-based coaching center? I think you are talking about the coaching center for students to prepare for Tvet or just to complete the final exam. I think there are two types of coaching center. One is coaching center to enroll in the Tvet institutions or university. Another type of coaching center is to complete the final exam. So, anyway, they are teaching, they are giving some lessons, they are teaching students. Don't take it negatively. But important thing is, in the name of coaching center, there instructor, teachers of polytechnics should not be partner of that coaching center. If the teacher of Tvet Institute is partner of that coaching center, he or she will not teach in class, they will refer to coaching center. That's why don't take that coaching center as a whole is negative approach. This is a learning venue. That is a kind of enterprise, because private sector enterprise, they can well equipped, they can change easily. Private sector are more dynamic than public sectors. They are more innovative, but they are money oriented because of profit oriented. That's why how they are treating. But my concern, don't go to your local authority to close them. This is a very, very strong attitude. But how can we facilitate them? How can regularize them? That is a rule. Regularization, registration, bring into national law, government law, local authorities law is important. But I think as a principal, you and like me, we cannot stop coaching center. This is a market element. But we can make it effective for teaching and learning. That is very important. And please check how many of your teachers are involving in that coaching center. If they are teaching in coaching center, not in your polytechnic classroom, at that time you can make punishment. Like a medical doctor, sometimes, if you go to public hospital, you cannot find that doctor. And at the same time, you will be in his clinic. So Tibet teachers should not do like that, because we have a very great social responsibility. And another question is, everything all about ICT skills, what percentage of Tibet trainers are updated? I cannot give exact answer because I don't have any research on it. So I think nowadays many teachers about except rural areas and some like a old teacher, but many teachers are already literate in ICT, but the degree of competencies is different. But I cannot give you the correct answer like an exact percentage on it, because we don't have any research for Asia Pacific region. Even though more than 50% are very good in ICT. That is my response. And another questions from Mr. Hamadi from Afghanistan. He's a very dynamic person from Afghanistan. He has a very good learning attitude. And could you, if our friends are planning to go Afghanistan, you can contact him. He is not only Tibet expert. He is a very good guide who can make you around Afghanistan, not only Kabul, but this time is not appropriate. So he said, could you please explain more on the vocational pedagogy? Oh, that's good. Don't be confused. Vocational pedagogy is also pedagogy for vocational, technical skills programs. If you talk about general pedagogy means like it was generated for general education concept. But why we added vocational pedagogy means the literal definition of vocational pedagogy is science, arts, and crafts to impart knowledge, skills, and attitude to Tibeti students. That is the literal meaning. Means our competency-based Tibet program is not like a knowledge part or general educations. So we have to give general theory. We have to impart skills like a guided practice, individual practice, demonstrations, then project work, and we have to bring them industry. There are many ways of teachings in Tibet. That's why how to impart effective competencies to our students. As an expert teachers, they have to apply different methods, different tools, different science, and different techniques. That's why the vocational pedagogy is different than general education. That's why vocational pedagogy is nothing new. It is just a methodology, approaches, strategies, tools, ways like direct strategy, indirect strategy, classroom, project work, many methods are there. That's why it is science, arts, and craft to impart Tvet competencies. That's it. And there is another question from Mr. Tailendra from Nepal. He said, sir, you told about KSA, but why not ASK? Means first attitude, then skills, and then knowledge. I think that this is like egg first or chicken first. Same thing, no problem. But in sequential order, in our teaching and learning, first you have to give knowledge part, concept, introductions. That's why the first to write K is better. But doesn't matter how do you write, even SKA, KSA, ASK. But first in our teaching learning, first we will give them foundation knowledge part. Otherwise, if I don't know the basic knowledge, how they can do practical things. So attitude is a cross-cutting things. During theory, I already explained a lot. So that is the response. And there, I think these are the questions, not much. So once again, thank you. Sanyogji, if you have any questions to respond
Yes,
or
yes.
not. Okay, please
Thank you,
respond. Then
Doctor.
okay.
Thank you, Doctor, for replying almost all questions. I have very few questions, like what is different between terminal performance objective and enabling objective? So terminal performance objective is written for the skill part, like a change engine oil. I gave you the example in case. Terminal performance objective, like in a given condition, the learner will be able to change engine oil within 10 or 20 minutes. And the criteria will be like there should be no leakage. So customer satisfaction. So in that way, you write the terminal performance objective for the psychomotor domain. But enabling objective is for the same skill, what knowledge part are required. Like in change engine oil, maybe enabling objective will be explain the importance of changing engine oil, types of engine oil, how to select engine oil, why we should change engine oil. So those are the enabling objective. Focus on knowledge part. So terminal performance objective is for the skill part. Enabling object is the theory part of that skill component. So maybe I make you clear. He has Hotel Management Training Institute, and he has 6 teachers in different faculty. They are teaching in traditional ways. So how can we change their attitude and behave in modern teaching way? So as I already present you, so maybe first you can try with the TOT. First you have to outsource, you have to spend a little money, or you can seek help from CPSC also and invest some money and first conduct TOT. TOT will change your teacher's attitude and mind. So one way is TOT, another is if you are the principal of that institute, you should be able to motivate your staff to change their behavior and apply different strategy, method, new way of teaching. So I can say those are the way. One is outsource, invite other resource person and conduct TOT for a teacher. Another is you can motivate them by different means and change their attitude and make them applying the modern teaching technologies. So many questions have been answered by yes, sir, Dr. I think this is all.
Thank you very much.
I don't have any more.
And there is one more questions from our Sokot Ali, CEO Model IT Training Institute, Bangladesh. He has asked like paradigm shift is a big challenge in Tibet. How can we meet the challenge in this region? I think we already discussed, definitely from teacher-centered learning environment to learner-centered environment, we have to change. But don't worry about principal is not giving resources, input, the government is not providing. That is their job. First important thing is, do I performing my responsibility or not? That we have to take on. If you are working as a principal, you have to fulfill principal's responsibility. If you are working as a teacher, you have to fulfill the teacher's responsibility. That is the main important things. And to change the paradigm shift of learning, teachers play more than 80% role. Only remaining 20% will goes to management, just for resource, support, and commitment. That's why, our dynamic teachers even can impart very good, generate very good, create very good learning environment without asking management. We have seen many great teachers. That's why that is the commitment thing, because teachers' competencies and their capabilities is very important. That's why don't worry about others' responsibility. First of all, we have to fulfill 100% our responsibility towards changing paradigm shift. Thank you very much. So hope definitely in Bangladesh also, now Bangladesh government and great leader Sheikh Hasina, she is giving high priority for Tvet, because skilling Bangladesh, like digital Bangladesh, and Bangladesh aim is to be a rich country by 2042. So in that time, definitely Tvet is the key elements. That's why if you have great plan, I think your government will support. Don't worry, but give them plan, implement by yourself, do your hard work. Thank you very much. So once again, thank you for all for your great questions, very professional questions. I think all of you are better teacher than us. This is just like a discussion forum, not a classroom, because I salute all of you. I have seen a lot of faces in this Zoom. Very great teacher for me also. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your valuable time. And try to think, we discuss many webinars. Don't isolate your student without anything. So even like a radio or television programs, conduct radio. If rural area, conduct radio program. If their television program, conduct some Zoom classes, send them some assignment, or request their parents to teach them, like give them some challenging questions. They will involve, Otherwise, in this COVID period, students will suffer. So as a dynamic Tvet management leader, teachers, expert, we have to create new learning environment as a gift of COVID-19. So we have to give different tips to our students to make busy for teaching and learning. On behalf of Colombo Plan Staff College, thank you, Sanyaji, and thank you for my team and all the distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, on behalf of Colombo Plan Staff College, we would like to thank all of you for your valuable time and your commitment. So thank you. Have a good day.
Namaste all. Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramhari and Shyam officers. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Keমন আছেন?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.